right, good morning, and welcome to a beautiful week. Another week in the month of June 2022. The time is 23 minutes before 10 o'clock, and you're still listening to Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio station, powered by the Diocese of Lagos, Anglican Communion. It's about time for the newspaper review. I've got quite a number of them here. My name is Taiwo Adiola Shabiolebe, and I'm not going to be doing the review alone. I have with me in the studio, Simidele Olabisi. Okay, good morning, and how are you this morning?
Good morning, good morning. As you can see, I'm fine. So far, so good. Koni Baje. Thank you.
All right, so we'll just get right into it. The first one I'll be looking at is the Nigerian pilot. On the front page, you can see the major story there, another church attack. 3 killed, scores kidnapped. And the writer to that says terrorists attack 2 churches in Kaduna, kill 3, injure and abduct many. Those killed are Rev'd, Ogwan Father, youth leader of Rubo resident of Father. The stormed 3 communities on motorcycles, shooting sporadically, says Aruan. Another writer says unspecific number of locals were also kidnapped. All of these you can read on page 8. This is another one, and I think this is another church attack story again this week. We had one last week. That one was out of it.
The one that happened last week, I think that was in a Celestial Church in Ogun
That was
State.
after the Ododo
Owo,
attack.
yeah.
Yes.
So the one of the Celestial Church in Ogun State that they were trying to ask for a ransom of I think 50 million. For 50 million naira, it was reduced to 10 million naira. And as at over the weekend, the ransom eventually paid was a million naira. So those that were abducted have been released actually for the last week. This particular one we just finished reading the headline. It actually happened at in a Catholic church. Actually,
Another Catholic church.
yes, in Kaduna State.
All right. Well, you can get that story on page 8. We can also see 2023 elections. PFN tells churches to mobilize members to obtain PVC. That story is on page 5. Still on page 5, Buhari says APC's victory in Ekiti confirms Nigerians' acceptance. Another one on page 5, we can see police arrest father, stepmother for chaining and starving 3 children in Imo State. Another highest level of wickedness. That one is on page 5. Also on page 5, FCT allocate 2.745 billion naira to FCT Fadama Cares. One also on page 5. Moving on to page 6 of the paper, we can see PAP deploys 450x agitators for training in oil spill cleanup and others. And on page 7, illicit money out of Africa by far exceeds incoming grants, says ICPC. Moving on to page 9, we can see court members, pregnant women, and 5 others down in Bielsa boat mishap. That's a disaster, but you might grab a copy of the Nigerian pilot and get more of the stories. PAP deploys, also on page 9, meningitis. It's 18 local government in Jigawa and kills 65. I think that's much we can take on the front page of the Nigerian pilot.
Okay, I will be taking the Daily Independent papers, and right at the top of the Daily Independent papers, why Atiku dumped Wike despite PDP recommendation. And the writers to that says, Okowa and I are incurable optimists in Nigeria's future, says Atiku. And this fresh fact actually emerged at the weekend on why Atiku, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, on the why he dumped the Rivers State Governor Wike as his running mate, despite his recommendation by the special panel set up by the party. Then you can continue reading that on page 29 of the Daily Independent papers. And the major headline on the Daily Independent papers is on forest scarcity. It says forest scarcity, untamed inflation untamed inflation puts Nigeria's economy at risk. And I think I'm actually in support of that anyway, because there was a period when Nigeria displaced resilience against inflation, mourners, but it's no more. It have died. So you can continue reading that on page 29 of the Daily Independent papers. And on page 2, this is on Ekiti poll. Serap gives INEC 7-day ultimatum to prosecute vote bias. Now, this is it. Is it the vote bias that are to be prosecuted, or the vote bias? Okay, prosecute vote bias. I think vote sellers, the vote bias. Yeah, the vote bias actually made use of the weaknesses of the vote sellers.
Yes.
Like the masses are the vote sellers, while the parties are the vote buyers. And
I saw a video of two ladies and they're like, at it out, like we've sold it. And like, so I think it's somewhere 5,000 naira, and then their people is like, really? Like, is this what you really want?
What exactly? And according to what I heard over the weekend, if after you finish your thumb print, you actually show them that this is the party I voted, then they will not give you money before you go drop it in the ballot box. You understand that? So now that Serap has given INEC 7 days ultimatum to prosecute vote buyers, then we will start counting. 7 days ends when? 7 days ends on Friday. So we'll start counting. That's actually what we'll do. So, and we actually hope they are both brought to book. Okay, moving on to page 6. This is on Ekiti Guba election. Buhari, Tinubu, Lawan, Sanwo-Olu, APC congratulates Oyebanji. That's on page 6. And still on page 6, Tinubu returns to Lagos amid jubilation by party supporters. And still on page 6 as well, Afghan national women leader joins Labour Party. This is a gangang. All right, let me move to page 7. VAT miscellaneous charges crippling airlines operation. You can continue reading on page 7, because after 1 year after the federal government approved the removal of 7% customs duty on imported aircraft and spare parts for airlines, the continuation deduction of value-added tax and other charges by the Nigerian Customs Service (NCS) may actually be crippling the operations of carriers in the industry. So you can continue reading the story on page 7 of the Daily Independent papers. Still on page 7, 18 persons feared dead in a Niger auto crash. NYSC member, 5 others die in Bayelsa boat mishap. And on to page 29, I have 2 stories there, and that'll be the last one I'll be taking on the Daily Independent. Terrorists kill 3 worshippers, abduct many in Kaduna Church. And still on page 29, Oni rejects Ekiti Guba poll result as PDP Scholar Wale concedes a defeat. That'll be all for the Daily Independent papers.
All right, moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. Bandits attack 2 churches, villages, Q3 in Kaduna on page 26. Mbeki advocates Consensus Youth Organization for Africa's Development. That's on page 2. Ekiti Guba fallout. Tinubu Atiku shift battle to Osun, and the writer says how 360,753 voters elected new Ekiti governor. Kolawale's PDP congratulates Oyebanji on. He says he will change outcome in court. Ekiti people elected best. Most sellable candidates are Fayemi. All of this you can read on pages 23 and pages 24 of the Nigerian Tribune. Still on the 2023, Kwankwanso will not be deputy to Obi, says NNPP. That one is on page 25. Competency test. Kaduna government sacks 2,357 teachers. So this is due to lack of competence. So these people are incompetent, right? You want to get more of the story? That's on page 8. Competency test. Okay, so why before these people get into the system, were they not tested? Were they not verified? And then you have to put the life of these children at stake.
That's actually the question. Before they actually got into the system, they should have been tested before going to toy with the children's education.
Especially the ones coming up, because they need competent and they need teachers that are well experienced, that are very good to handle these children, because that is the stage where they tend to learn more and learn faster and even learn the best.
Exactly.
So that one is on page 8. Gunmen kidnap 13 mourners in Edo, demand 60 million naira ransom. On page 26. Protest in Enugu over ban on Mbaka's adoration ministry. That's on page 4. PFN declares next Sunday as PVC Day. Zamfara governor declares 5-day holiday for PVC registration.
Wow.
This cannot happen in Lagos, but of course.
We never can tell, really.
In Lagos.
Actually, the declaration might happen, but the implementation, 5 days cannot be enough. Let me put it that way. 5 days cannot be enough.
Yes, because I know some people will still not. I don't know. Some people will still end up not getting their PVC in that 5 days, because some people will eventually go to, especially the private sector, they have to go to work. That one is on page 4. Ohaneze Ndigbo wants zoning of presidency in the constitution. That one is on page 24. I think that's all on the front page. We can see the picture of the governor and Lagos State governor and few other people on the front page of the paper. That's all on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
All right, moving to Nigerian News Direct. The major headline on the Nigerian News Direct: fuel scarcity, long queues worsen in Ogun, Oyo, Osun, others as price hits 300 naira per litre. So should we say what I actually feared the most is about to happen? Let me put it that way. Okay, you can continue reading that on page 3 of the Nigerian News Direct. NCC 3-hour sign packed on revenue assurance solutions. That's on page 12 of the Nigerian News Direct. And I have this on page 2. NCDBM boss lays foundation stone of future concerns PPE factory. And still on page 2, court stops federal government. Court stops federal government away from action on a customs concession project. And lastly, on Nigerian News Direct, Sanwo-Olu, Tony Elumelu officially launched development of new Falomo Towers. That actually happened over the weekend. That'll be all for the Nigerian News Direct.
All right, moving on to the Al Jazeera. Something new here. We can see AEDC embarks on 40 quick wins projects to improve supply. I'm going to take a few from that story. The management of Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, AEDC, says it is embarking on 40-day quick win projects geared towards rehabilitating its network to increase availability of electricity. So the managing director of AEDC, Mr. Adeoye Fadeyibi, in a statement at the weekend said that the project ranged from deloading the overloaded feeders. Other projects embarked upon by the company, he said, include the purchase of 81 new distribution transformers and repair of 78 existing ones, and so many other. You can continue reading on the inside of the page. Residents grown as flood ravages Akwa Ibom communities. That one is on page 12. Kidnappers snatch ex-NFF Secretary General Sani Toro. That's on page 12 as well. Federal government incurred 2 trillion naira debt in first quarter, spends 895 billion naira on servicing. You want to find out what they're servicing? This one is on Business News. That's on page 28. Still in the news, Kaduna terrorists kill 3 worshippers, abduct scores. Okay, so this one is on page 13. Will change outcome of Ekiti Guba poll in court. Excuse me. Will challenge outcome of Ekiti Guba poll in court. Oni Elebute Ale says. I'm Yoruba lady, I'm sorry, but all right, another one here. Security operatives man Enugu Catholic Cathedral over protest. That's on page 31. I think that's much you can take, and every other stories there has been taken.
On to the Guardian. Ekiti election only vows to challenge outcome. A governor-elect seeks truce. And this governor-elect, he doesn't have strength for Wahala, really. So let's just leave it at that. There's no need to be going back and forth, And that's on page 6 of the Guardian. Federal government has abandoned on the used properties nation. Federal government has 2,000 abandoned overused properties nationwide. Who said that? Guess sharp. The Rivers State Governor, Wike, said that. So you can continue reading that on page 22 of the Guardian papers. And the major headline says auto firms stocks crash as Nigerians spend 4 trillion naira on Tokumbo in 10 years. And we have some riders to that. Stock investors count losses as RT Briscoe SCOA its 10-year low. Stakeholders blame worsening forex shortage, inflation, weak demand and others, as auto sector on verge of collapse over rising import operations. One, federal government urged to support industry with credit facilities and tax relief. You can continue reading on page 6 of the Guardian papers. And still on the Guardian papers, group insists Lawan Akpabio others didn't participate in APC primaries. It's in between all of you anyway. You know more than we do. Then Plato records 2 cases of monkeypox, and I think this case of monkeypox have been on for some time now. And there was a time the NCDC confirmed 1 dead and some other few numbers infected. And I think after that, there was something trading on not eating bushmeat or eating bushmeat.
Yes, so all of you that like bushmeat.
Like, seriously, can you tell an average Ekiti person not to eat bushmeat?
And ever since we talked about that bushmeat stuff, you've been thinking like,
seriously, like bushmeat is actually my stuff, you understand?
Continue.
No. I'm still thinking. Like you said, I've been thinking. But it's like
prevention is better than
it's
cure.
like punishment. So
we don't have a choice, but for now, you have to just put a stop to it.
We have to abstain. Abstain for
Abstinence.
now. All right, and lastly on the Guardian papers, expert urges a reversal of power sector privatization for enhanced supply. So that'll be all for the Guardian papers.
All right, quickly on the leadership, we can see healthcare. Patients bear brunt of outages, high diesel costs, investigation and so on. You can read on this page 7. ISWAP kills 6 commuters, injures 2 in fresh Brno attack. That's on page 10. Court halts action of e-customs concession project. That's on page 23. TED fund to release 15 billion naira for National Library project on page 8. 18 died in Bida Mina road crash. That's on page 9. It's rather unfortunate. Another one. You must reject candidates who didn't participate in primaries. The writer says INEC can't promote impunity and illegality, says CSOs. Case of Lawan Akpabio, clear violation of Electoral Act, SANS. Machina insists on legal action over Yobe North APC senatorial ticket. Akpabio's name will be on the ballot. Aid. No reports suggest the names were forwarded to her, says INEC. All of this you can read on page 4 of the leadership newspaper. I think that's all on the leadership newspaper. We can see another one, Ekiti poll. After landslide, Oyebanji promises to work for Ekiti people. That one is on page 7. We can see a series of pictures and analyses and votes, results, registered voters, accredited voters, valid vote, rejected vote, votes cast, percentage, turnout, all of these from the APC, PDP, and Oyebanji Shegoni, BC Kolawole, and the handover date is on October 16th.
Okay, let me take a new one on the New Telegraph. I think our time is fast spent. Oil marketers complain as fuel queues resurface in Lagos. That's on page 4. And as soon as I saw this headline, it got me thinking that, hey, my God, oh. Okay, then this is on banks. Others generate 91.18 billion naira a value-added tax in 15 months as Nigeria and US dislodge Algeria in gas exports to Spain. You can continue reading that on page 3 and page 22 respectively. Then this is a new one. It's on medicals. Study has revealed that prolonged sitting increases health risk. You can continue reading on page 26. So we're going to take some walks, during where do you want to take walk to?
Please, please. I've had enough work this morning. You won't believe I trekked all the way from there to here. My back is spinning me, my chest. In fact, I oh God, I deserve some pampering. Not even pampering. I deserve some pampering.
Don't worry, a bottle of chilled Coke for you today. So, lastly, on the New Telegraph papers, gunmen kidnap 13 mourners in Edo, demand 60 million naira ransom, abduct former NFA Secretary General Sani Toro and 2 others. You can continue reading the story on page 6 of the New Telegraph, and I have the major headline. Withholding foreign airlines 187.1 billion naira not acceptable, says country tops others in trapped funds, indicts Zimbabwe, Algeria, Ethiopia, blocked funds liable to a fair increase. You can read all of that on page 2 of the New Telegraph.
All right, thank you. I'll just take this one on business. Businesses abandon power grid for alternative sources. You want to find out why? It's on the front page of Business Day newspaper, and you can continue reading on page 30. Voter cards elude Nigerians eager to vote. That one also on page 31. You can continue reading. Thank you very much for being a part of the newspaper review. Tomorrow is going to be another edition. Don't forget to keep liking us on Facebook at Lagoon Radio Nigeria, on Instagram and Twitter at LagoonRadio.Ng. Click your subscribe button on YouTube at LagoonTV for more videos and stories. Thank you very much. My name is Taiwo Adiola Shabilebe and
Olabisi Simidili. Okay, have a nice
morning.
day.
This is Lagoon Radio.